here who everybody was going to it and they were singing the praises of this company. They were so great. They're so wonderful. And I went to them and I paid, if you think about 2004, I paid $2,500 to have them produce my book. And that was 11 years ago. So that was pretty high. And when I got the book back, I was so excited. You know, I didn't open it, didn't sit down and read it again, didn't do anything. But I went to the expo. I was invited to go to the Black Expo downtown. They advertised me, and I came out with Backroom Confessions, which is the book she's holding. This is the new cover. And I was so excited. Everybody was like, why you got so many people out here to see you? They was wrapped everywhere. And I was selling books. So the next day, I started getting phone calls. People were telling me, your book is so good, but all of the pages are falling out. They're falling on the floor. And I said, oh my God, just get a book back to me. I'll replace it. Girl's like, no, I'm just picking them up off the floor and reading it. It's so good. And she said, but you got a lot of errors in here. And I was like, no, I had that professionally produced. And so I said, well, can you tell me what pages they on? She said, it's too many. I don't have time. And I remember I went to my husband and I was crying. And I said, I paid these people $2,500 and they got me looking like a fool. I said, because one of the things that happen is once you put a book out, you can't get it back. It's already gone out there. It's in libraries. It's everywhere. So you leave a legacy of mistakes, messed up work, and that's not what I wanted to do. So I remember I was so upset, crying to my husband, and my husband said, we paid them by Visa. With Visa, if you're not satisfied, all you got to do is call them, and they take care of it right away. So we found out that they did edit my book with a 14-year-old girl. She had an A in English in the 8th grade. She hadn't even seen life. So, you know, that 8th grade work compared to something what I was trying to do, she shouldn't even been reading Backroom Confessions. So if she was editing, she probably got trapped up in the words and couldn't think, you know, what she was doing. So my husband was like, well, you know, just get the books back and you got your money. I went back and I told the people I didn't even want the books. I contacted everybody. Usually at a book signing, I always carry a pad so I can email people and let them know what's coming next, what would have, you know, who in my organization is publishing. But I contacted everybody on the list and I said, I'll give you your money back. And they was like, no, someday you're going to become real famous and I got this bad book. And I can put it on eBay and sell it with all, you know, and get big money for it. So I appreciate that people had that much confidence in me. But I was telling my mother about the whole situation. My mom said, yeah, it's true. I really love this Backroom Confession book, but the pages are falling out. But I'm just picking them up and I'm reading them anyway. But she said, but you know what, if you want to do something right, you should do it yourself. You can't count on people to put out the kind of good work that you want to do. So what I did is I produced Backroom Confession, and then this lady asked me to write for a newspaper out in the county. I started writing for her, and that's how I met my first author. She came to me and said, I read your newspaper articles, and can you publish me? And I was like, no, I don't publish other people. Make a long story short in that area, I ended up publishing her. She became my second best-selling author. Now, how I got my nephew involved, my nephew was 13 years old, and he was real quiet. He's still real shy. He just, I mean, we couldn't reach him. The teachers were saying he's a straight A student, but he won't do his homework. We don't know what's wrong with him, what's going on. So I took him a red notebook, and I said, I want you to start writing your feelings down. We knew my sister was on drugs, and she wasn't keeping him. You know, the 3 kids, my mom had them. And they were suffering the loss of their mother. She would come visit them on weekends, but she never kept him. So they couldn't understand why mama don't want us, you know. They couldn't understand she's on drugs. This was like, it started early in her life, 3 years old. And then so at 13, you know, teenagers going into themselves, they want their mothers to come to their games, to come to the school, and they're not coming. The only person coming is grandmama. Their what?
No, I said their fathers too.
Yeah.
Right.
Their father, she didn't know who his father was because she wouldn't tell him. She kept saying that, it's none of your business. I don't know who he is. Don't ask me those kind of questions. And I was high. I don't know. And he don't mind me telling this story because it's going to help somebody someday. So what happened was I gave him that red notebook, and every week he would come to church, and he'd be so excited, give me that red notebook, and I would read his little stuff, and I was like, this boy got something, So I told to him, I said, would you be ashamed to tell your story to others? And he was like, no. I said, I really like the words that you're writing. I said, let's do a book together. He was like, a book? I don't do no book. I'm shy. I'm not going to talk to nobody. And I said, let's do the book to help other people. So what we did, I took all his words and I put them in the book, and then I became a character in the book to respond to him and showed you how I was working with him. And we went back to his mom. We talked to her. We asked her if it was okay if we tell this story. It's talking about you, honey. You was out there on the street and you made those mistakes. Your children are living through it. So if they can help somebody else get through it, let us tell a story. She read the book. She said, I don't care, you all can tell the story. So this book came out 2004. We've sold over 10,000 copies, and every book signing we go to, we sell out. I can't keep this book on hand. And it really is a good story. People always, when they read something real good, they say, send it to Oprah, send it to Oprah. We don't do that. Oprah don't take unsolicited materials. You have to write screenplays and send them and try to get them that way, copyright, all that kind of stuff is going on. But the story has helped so many people. It's in some of the schools, libraries. Counselors have purchased the books from here to South County to West County. We've had phone calls from young people, 14, 15 years old, saying, I was going to commit suicide until I read your book. I'm so thankful. I had one young boy named Derek. He was out at Parkside, and Derek, he got this book at Expo. And Derek recruited kids from everywhere. He wanted everybody to hear this. He told the school principal about it. He told other people about it. He did media for me, free on the internet. And we didn't know that we were saving Derek. Derek was depressed, and this book uplifted him. So I started off with that book, ended up publishing 27 other authors who came to me and they wanted to become published. They couldn't get their books out into the regular media because it's hard for us to get out there, to be honest. You don't see big companies knocking on our doors. They always say, we can't sell books. To us, we sell 10,000, we're bestsellers. But to the white population, they sell 1 million. They're going to get their support. They say our people don't read. You put money, you put $1 million in a Bible somewhere and hope that your kid might someday find that Bible and read it. You heard that story that, what's his name, Kevin Hart tells about his mother. He was mad at his mother because he was going to get evicted, and he kept begging his mother for money to help him, and she kept saying, did you read the Bible? Did you read the Bible? And he never did open it until he was so down and out. One day he opened the Bible, and there was a check in there for all those months. She gave him a year's worth of money to pay his rent. It took him 6 months to open the Bible. And so they say we don't read, but we do. This is a testament for you being here today. We do read. We do want to read books. I read everything. Because I'm a reader, I write everything. I write kids' books. This book right here, anybody can read this. Our biggest audience are mothers, grandmothers, and children. We wrote this book where there's no limitation on who can pick it up. A 10-year-old can read this and won't be offended. They'll learn something to make them feel good. So I wrote Backroom Confessions for adults. We redid my book my way. And then I did this one. It's called Between You and Me. What I like about this book, a young man in prison who felt like he had no hope. He saw an ad in a newspaper with my company, my information in it, and he contacted me. It was really weird because it was the Monitor's newspaper, from East St. Louis, and he read it. He sent me a letter asking me if I would work with him, and I was like, I'm not gonna work with nobody in prison, because see, your books don't move unless you market them. You have to be out here telling everybody about it, going to book signings, and he's been in jail since he was 16 years old, and he wasn't coming out for another 20 years. He had already been in there 20 years. He was a drug dealer. And he was, please help me with the book. I've been praying about it, and your name just popped up in this newspaper. The boy who gave me a newspaper was transferred to another prison. I'm like, this is kind of strange. Ain't like it was God related in some kind of way. Well, anyway, I wrote a book. He wrote a book called Death, No Exception. Sold very well. Then he did another one called Simply Put, where he was telling you about what happens to you in prison. And he talked about how people do try to rape you, and if you don't fight, how he broke his hand fighting men off him. He talked about that in that book. And then as we moved on and I got him out there, a lot of people did his work. They want to write him letters and stuff. I had to stop putting his address out because 14-year-old girls was writing him, telling me they read his books and they want to be counseled. No, you can't be getting this. They would call me, Beavers, can you give me his phone number? No. Why would I do that? No. So anyway, making a long story short, with the prisoner, we ended up writing this book called Between Me and You. It is a little erotica in here, but we want to test something to see if I write a paragraph, send you my paragraph, and see what you come up with. And it ended up becoming a really good book, and people are really buying this, really like this book. And so I also had another best-selling author. Anybody ever heard of Keisha Urban? Keisha Urban is from East St. Louis, Missouri. She started writing at 19 years old. Her first book came out, and she sold 30,000 books in like 1 month. St. Louis American did a feature on her, and now she has thousands and thousands of readers. I did a book with her at over 50,000 in sales. And so we ended up, Keisha did 2 books with my company, and I'm sorry I didn't bring my other books with me because I've produced over 100 books for people, and that's just too many to lug around. But anyway, Keisha and I decided we was going to do this anthology. Our company didn't have an anthology where you take some of your best writers and you put articles, short stories in here and you do them. This is our first erotica anthology. Keisha, myself, and Cecilia Edwards, and the guy in jail. We wrote this, and it's doing very well. So once you start publishing things, a lot of opportunities come for you. We decided to do Caught in the Net because of bullying. We finding out that kids are really 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds are committing suicide. And we wanted to write something to stop this, because let people know how you're hurting. But since if we tell people, they don't listen most of the time, but maybe we can get people to read. So Edward and I started giving these books away. We would go to the schools. He was after school facilitator. And we would show up at the schools and just give maybe 50 books out, 10 books out, so kids could get this in their hand and read it. It's kind of, we really talk about this in here. I do have a clean version. I don't think this is it, but we had one that had a couple curse words in it. Young boy was rolling the joint. Ed can't stand the book, but it was his story, and so.
I don't like it because I was like, 16, someone wrote that, and I was.
Yeah, he thinks because he's 20.
I'm 25.
He thinks because he's 25 years old, his words from his youth don't mean anything. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Your words do make an impact on young people and people your age, but we wrote it where it's not so much that it's a young book. We wrote a story in here about a young girl who was on the internet. We did cyberbullying. The girl put a fake picture of her on the internet. The guy who she was talking to, he wasn't 15 years old. he was 30-something, and he was planning to kidnap her. Her parents had to get the FBI involved, trying to stop this man. He would not stop. The little girl had fallen in love with him. You know, just a mess that was happening, cyberbullying. And then there was another girl that was being cyberbullied. You're ugly, you fat, nobody don't want you. They would set her up and she hung herself, you know, and it was just all kind of things. So we wanted to just come up with some stories. We have 4 stories in here. Calling Annette is the lead story, and The Hood and Me by Edward. The Price of Disobedient by me, and then I forgot what oh, it's just us. So we did this whole thing. I thought we had the other guy in here too. So we did this. We just wrote stories and we put them together, and thank God that people appreciate it and are learning from it. We like these two to go into the schools to help kids.
That book surprised me.